What's up, guys? It's Hippie with the hookup tackle here with my boy
What up?
CJ behind the camera. Dude, we're just out here. It's late winter here in Arizona, and we're in one of our favorite little spots, and we're just catching some on a jerkbait. We're just out on this flat. Me and CJ were just chilling, and he's like, dude, we got good weather tomorrow. So we threw the stuff in the boat, and we're here. Let's catch some fish.
Looks great. Let's do it,
All right. I want to show you what we're doing today. If you look on my screen here, there's, we're fishing submerged trees. There's artificial structure out here. There's a bunch of different kinds of things for these fish to hold to. And what'll happen is these fish will suspend above that cover. So what we're trying to do is just get these jerk baits right above there and watch it on our scope and, coax them into biting. So in this particular spot, we're fishing off the bank, isolated pieces of structure, and we're using our forward-facing sonar. But also this time of year, these fish will get in these shallow bays that have grass and stuff. So I'm just, get in the area where I know these fish are pulled up in, and just traditional jerkbait fishing, we take, all the strips and the foam off, and we just go chuck it around. They bite it that way too. So you don't have to just solely rely on this style bite. There's always gonna be fish shallow, and there's always gonna be fish deep. So you guys see my bait sinking there. So I'm almost above the structure. Most of the time you won't see these fish because they're hiding inside that structure. So what we do is we just try to keep this bait right above the structure and hope that some of these fish see it and come up and get behind it. All right, so just fishing over what looks like, an artificial cage structure. There's also some grass around. Got a few fish here.
Ooh.
One behind it. Fish are picky.
He's just following it. Look at it sitting right in front of his nose. Oh,
Two
oh,
right
oh,
there.
oh. Come on, get competitive. Come on. Come on. Come on. No way.
Cigar.
Dang, dude. I thought they were going to eat.
They do get some pressure, but every once in a while you get them to just shoot up. Like you were saying, competitive. So if you get those single dots, on some days those single ones, you can definitely catch those. But on a day like today, it's tougher to get those to react. But if there's multiple fish on the structure and they all kind of get after it, that's when typically you get that bite.
Yeah, it's like they're wolf packed and they just start fighting each other for the bait.
For sure.
Like juices them up more. It's pretty cool.
All right, I'm jumping up with you, brother.
Come on.
Julius is throwing the Rudra. I'm throwing the Varuna around.
Like growing up, it was always 6-3 to 1, like jerking.
Right.
But
Why's this slow?
I feel like it helps you control your your cadence. You're not picking up that much line, so then you're not moving it as fast. Like, dude, before forward-facing sonar, you get days where those fish are there. I mean, you can't see them because we didn't have it, but
Right.
they're there, and then you start pausing at 30 seconds, 40 seconds, up to a minute, and then boom, you start getting bit. So, I mean,
Like you were noticing that was making the difference.
I mean, now you just can see them on your screen, so you just mix up your cadence due to what they're reacting.
You're right.
But back then we didn't have that, so we just fucking cast around and, maybe I'll let it sit longer and see if they bite it. All right, guys, we're out here fishing, throwing some jerk baits around. A couple different scenarios. There's some fish on flats, suspended over timber, or artificial fish habitat. You've got fish in some shallow grass. So a couple different scenarios. So I'm gonna just kind of show you a few baits that we have rigged up that we've been fishing this morning. Today we kind of landed on the O.S.P Varuna and the O.S.P Rudra. Like I said, there's a bunch of different jerk baits that would work for this style of fishing. Today, these are just the ones that we chose to fish. I've been spending a lot of time with this bait lately and really starting to get attached with it. So a reason why I chose this bait today is because we're fishing around, big fish, big vegetation. There's a lot of stuff for these fish to get us, in and around. And when it comes to jerkbait fishing, I feel like, you know, when you start tinkering with hooks and that kind of stuff to upsize your gear to land these fish, you start to affect the action. Cool little backstory on this bait right here, the Varuna 110. The owner of O.S.P, Tina Miki, he spent a lot of time fishing in the US, fishing tournaments, and he loved throwing a, you know, 110 style jerkbait. There's a bunch of different ones out there, and where he found, you know, some issues was when he needed to upsize his gear and his hooks and stuff, he couldn't get those other baits to perform. So he set out to create a bait that you can take right out of the box and, you know, power fish with it, fish shallow around big ones, and it's still going to perform with the stuff that's on it. One key feature about this bait is that with other jerk baits, you know, they're going to walk, where this bait will flash. So you get a different view that you wouldn't find with other 110 style jerkbaits. So with that being said, the bigger brother of the Varuna is the Rudra 130. So same style bait, same everything. You're just going to get a bigger profile that's still going to deliver the same action, that flashing action. All right, so I got two Rudras here. As you can see, there's a lot going on with this one. Right out of the box, this bait is going to perform. You know, if you don't need it to get down and there's fish shallow, this is going to do everything you need it to do. But in our scenario today, there's fish, you know, positioned right above, you know, these big trees or these brush piles, and they could be down all the way up down to 40 feet. So we have to get this bait down into that strike zone to be able to present it to them. So a couple things that I'm doing is I'm adding a lead strip here. There's a bunch of different kinds. This one in particular just happens to be the Zappu. When you start adding weight to these baits, right, they're not necessarily designed to take the weight. So when these baits are sinking down, sometimes you'll get them to kind of sink in that backward motion. But when you're fishing this and you stop it in front of a fish, it will sink back down instead of suspend. And the whole idea with a jerkbait, if there's a fish behind it, is getting it to suspend and stay in front of that fish so they can commit and bite it. So what we've been doing, kind of a new trick, I've been adding some foam on top. And what that does is I still get the weight to get that bait down, but once it's down there and I stop it, it doesn't stop like this. And this helps it to stop straight up and down, and it stays in that strike zone and it looks natural to the fish. We're just using some craft foam here to show you guys. There is, you know, Zappu makes a foam board, and so adding that piece of foam there allows this bait to, you know, once you've got it presented, to suspend and sit horizontal. And that's what's gonna get that fish to commit to your bait. So real quick on gear, just bigger jerk baits in general, but this one being designed to, you know, be kind of power fished around, you know, big ones and a bunch of different style of cover. That gives you the ability to beef up your gear. So you can kind of get away from that light action traditional jerkbait rod. This is just a Steez moving bait versatile, and I'm throwing 14-pound line today. So you can just beef up your gear and it's not gonna affect the action of that bait and give you guys more confidence when you're fishing around those big fish. Just wanna show you how neat this setup truly is. We're gonna throw it in the water for you. This bait is still sinking, but that foam is helping it stay horizontal. So you're still getting that sinking action, but it's sinking this way. Where, you know, in past times me and CJ were talking about this, is when you start adding weight to these baits, this bait will sit this way. So you just get that super natural profile. And honestly, you know, you think it looks kind of crazy with that foam and stuff on there, but when you put it in the water, it still looks nice and natural, and they bite it. All right, guys, just wrapped up a super fun day of fishing. Hopefully those tips that, you know, we showed you are something that, you know, you guys can benefit from and learn from, and hopefully it helps you in your fishing adventures. O.S.P Varuna and Rudra, two really great lures, and really gain a lot of confidence in them. Hopefully these are two baits that you guys check out and can add to your tackle box. Later.